the post office would open every single one of them and then retape them up again and put open by the U.S. Postal Service. They would do it with every issue. So, what you're seeing today, we started to see back in the 60s and then in the 70s. So the government could do something like that. Or they could stop us from sending it by mail. So what do? You better educate yourself, is all I can tell you.
And as far as the gold and silver, as far as your coins and everything, we would probably make some sort of change. I mean, we have lists, and we would probably also send out some sort of mailing explaining the situation and so forth. And you can always call us as long as the phones are working, as long as the phones can come through. If that didn't happen, we would probably go the mail route, and depending on situations. And even if you have to sit out for a short period of time, whether it be a month or 2 months, you might just have to do some waiting. And again, this is why you always need your additional backup material for when situations might happen. And let's say maybe the internet, the phone, and the mail, nothing happened. You have to be able to sustain yourself during those times. So again, what's that mean? You got to have your food, you got to have your water, and
your AR and AK.
And we wait it out. And Bob, I'm going to ask you this question. I know what my thoughts are, but if we got to that period of time, I'm asked, well, what is the length of time that things could completely come to a halt? I don't think you would see it for a year, because things do come back and things do start moving again. Commerce continues to move. Something is created. Something arises out of those ashes. So my thoughts would be more, if anything really comes to a complete stop, I mean, a month, 2 months, 3 months?
Well, I was talking to Mad Max the other day.
Where are you talking to Mad Max?
Yeah, and he says it could be indefinite.
Could it?
No, it all depends on what turn it takes. We don't have answers for everything, and you don't, and nobody does. And
but I can't see
that's just the way it is.
For years. I mean, I couldn't see Mad Max times for years. But then again, who knows? We don't know.
Incidentally, they're coming in and hitting gold and silver again, and they just hit the big stocks that were up maybe 2-3%. They took them back down to slightly down on the day, just before the close here. I mean, it's so obvious what the government is doing. It's incredible. They got oil up at $81.
I saw that. Amazing.
Ridiculous.
Yep.
But I've been told by Middle East sources that a deal's been made, and the Illuminati wants to keep it at $100 a barrel indefinitely. You'll see it in the next issue.
Here's a question. Since we had power outages on Friday, this is in from Tony. And actually, he calls us Robin and Batman. But you had mentioned the FASB rulings 166 and 167 reinstating mark-to-market. Do you have a time frame for reinstating mark-to-market?
January 1st, 2010. And it's going to be interesting to see if they back off again. And no one talks about Basel II and Basel III. And Basel III is the interesting one. It's put up by the the Bank for International Settlements, which is the Bankers Bank. And the Bankers Bank is told the other banks, look, you've got to have deposits of 8% on hand. And otherwise your rating will be dropped to a lower rating. And you also have to, like the FASB 166, 167, are saying the same thing. Now, if they go into action, this is what's going to happen. Every business in almost every country, but particularly Europe and the United States and Canada, they're going to have to mark everything to the market. And they're going to have to take all their garbage assets that they've been hiding in hedge funds or off the books, and they have to be taken and put on the books. that could cause the stock market to drop 1,000 points a day. Because when you see that these banks are really bankrupt, and brokerage firms, and corporations, some of them, insurance companies, they're going to go out of business. If that happens, next year is going to be a bloodbath for the market, for companies, for banking, and it's going to be very, very interesting to see if they go forward pushing Basel III and sticking to their guns on 166 or 167. A very good question. Very sophisticated.
He has some other questions about where to track. You know, he owns gold and silver eagles. They're easy to track in price because they simply follow bullion with a premium. Is there any place on the net to track the price action collectible coins, and which coins do you believe offers the best values right now? And, you know, people have to remember that the coins that we recommend, the coins that I recommend, they're not true collectible coins where you have to know what that coin is. You know, you're not buying the coin for that coin. You're not buying it for the history. You're not buying it for because this is a coin you want to complete a collection. It is not a coin in which you need a special buyer or a special market to sell that coin. And if gold goes up, and certainly as long as the internet is working and we're on the program, you know, when there's big action in the coins and so forth, like we saw earlier in this year, you can simply follow it here. One of my goals is to put a page on my website to which we can possibly post the prices, maybe on a monthly basis. You know, I don't believe it needs to be tracked on a daily basis, but you know, if bullion coins or if bullion spots are moving, most likely your coins are also. But I also noticed in the past many years, when they really take the major moves, the coin, is when you have action in the markets. I mean, if you have gold trading up a little bit and you have the stock market going up, you're going to move. But the really big gains come when you have things happening and people are fleeing the market. I don't believe they're fleeing the stock market right now. They're not fleeing to safety because you have the stock market going up. Do you think that's correct, Bob?
That's right. It is correct.
So when they start pulling out of there and they're beginning to flee to that quality and they begin to flee to safe haven, that's when you're going to see those big gains. So, and we are just about out of time. And I do still have questions from Friday, and we'll try to get to them this coming Friday. We might be able to find one here real quick. Oh, you know, I'm never quick on this internet.
Well, the stocks, they had nice gains and they took them all away. AEM's up 23 cents, and SSRI's up 11, MFN's down 10, and GG is down 15. Go ahead.
Well, we're out of time. I just heard the notice. So we'll bring those questions from line. We'll get all caught up. And if you don't hear it, send it back to me. Discount Gold and Silver at yahoo.com. Discount Gold and Silver at yahoo.com. And Wendy Wilson will be joining you tomorrow, and Batman and myself will be on Friday. And we do thank you, and we thank you for listening and your support. Till then, be safe. Good night, and God